Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing?
Great. How are you?
So good.
I didn't want to answer right away because I think every time we've said so good at the exact same time.
Well, I am doing so good. Are you not doing so good?
I'm doing so good.
We should have a shirt that says "so good" on it.
Okay.
Oh, we should.
Our podcast merch. It's coming together.
Yeah, Joe, will you get that started for us?
Yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. We'll add you a little raise. Well, welcome to our sisters podcast. I missed you guys. I feel like because we pushed it back a couple days, it's been way too long. Mm-hmm. But I saw you guys on Christmas.
Yes. And oh my gosh, it was so nice to have almost the entire immediate family back together. So that was nice. Beautiful.
Yeah, that was awesome. It was fun. It was fun for the babies to play together too.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. I loved it.
So cool that they're near the same age and just watching them, Olive and Anders and I'm just so excited for the future for your babies.
Cousin besties.
Yay. Snuggles. That's what I'm all about. Well, let's get started on everything. So last week, we talked about when was the last time you felt bugged or anxious? And when was the last time you used technology unnecessarily? And I know those two kind of seem random, but I totally see a correlation. And there are all these studies, and I actually did a little research this time, and there are a ton of studies linking technology and social media and all of that to anxiety. But let's just go over what we talked about last week real quick. So Annika, you said that the last time you felt bugged was when you woke up on the wrong side of the bed. And then the last time you used technology unnecessarily was the GPS instead of just figuring it out on your own.
Oh, it was necessary. It's just that I've become dependent.
Yeah, clarification.
I have no idea where I'm going still because I've become dependent.
Sure, that's how I am too. Britannia, you talked about being irritated with your partner who wouldn't talk to you while eating breakfast. And
when you say it like that, it sounds ridiculous.
Hey,
most of the time when we're bugged, I think is ridiculous.
Yes, it's true. But something else is going on, and we gotta fix it. And then the last time you used your technology unnecessarily was with your watch, and how if you don't work out with your watch, it doesn't count. Do you go work out again, Britannia, if you don't work out with your watch?
I choose to plead the fifth. No, not necessarily. I will sometimes allow myself, you see these rules that I have for myself, I will allow myself to count, well, did I sweat and how long did I exercise for? The old factors that you used to use to determine if you had a good workout or not.
The old factors.
Old factors.
Nobody does that anymore.
No one does that. I'm such a grandma.
I'm pretty sure that's how I determine whether or not I worked out, was if I sweat and how long I did it.
Same. I try to trick my watch. I'll be like, okay, I'm doing a quick 10-minute workout, and it doesn't work. I can't trick it. It's like, no, you're not sweating. I am not counting that time, even though you did the time. I don't see your heartbeat or heart rate raising. So
that is one of the biggest frustrations, with my smartwatch is when I am working out and it says, have you completed a workout? And I'm like, no, I'm still working out. Can't you tell?
That's so funny. And then for me, using social media, sometimes gives me anxiety, and I'll get bugged after getting on my phone, and then I'll stupidly use my watch to try to help find my lost phone. I'll ping it and I'll be like, where's my phone? And it's right in front of me. So these are all things that we're dealing with technology these days. And so I found this cool article by this clinical psychologist at Boston University Center. Her name is Ellen Hendrickson. Have you guys heard of her?
No.
I don't think so.
Me neither. But I really liked this article that I found. And just this first part, she said, uncertainty is the root of anxiety. And that just like really hit me because I thought I was just like anxious because I don't know. I guess now that I'm about to say it out loud, it kind of connects the dots, but I would feel anxious because I was worried. I would have a hard time going to sleep because I'm worried about my kids not breathing, and I'm having the camera on them and checking on them, or I'm worried about my husband going to work because I don't know if he's going to come back home, car accidents or whatever. And so I have like all this anxiety and I'm constantly worried, but it's the root, and uncertainty is the root of anxiety. Thought that was really interesting. And so we ask ourselves questions, hoping to rely on something known. What's going to happen? What do they think of me? What if this goes badly? Like, how many times do we think of those questions? I think of them all the time.
Yeah, I love that. That's something that sounds similar to one of Tony Robbins' books that I read recently, where he was talking about making decisions, and that I agree with that uncertainty creates anxiety because anxiety is worrying about the future. We have anxiety because your mind is overthinking about what could be or what will be or what if this, what if that. You're not actually deciding. Once you decide the direction you're going to go, you have less uncertainty and less anxiety because you're making the choice of what your future will be instead of going, well, I don't know what's going to happen. Anything can happen. But really, we have control of our future and we have control how we act when things that aren't in our control happen. But we have a lot more control than I think we give ourselves credit for. And that's why we have so much anxiety. So uncertainty comes from indecisiveness.
Mm-hmm. That's so true. Another part of that article actually talked about when we're on social media or like texting or anything, like we stop with communicating face to face. And so when you're texting someone, you have a minute to edit your thoughts. Oh no, I might offend them by saying that. Oh no, I sound stupid. Oh no, oh no, oh no. And so you're avoiding the awkwardness, the anxiety, the boredom, the self-consciousness, instead of being truly authentic and just calling your friend, or saying, instead of like, hey, how's it going over text, say, before I answer that, how about we go get some coffee? Let's go get some lunch or something. And you talk to each other. And then I feel like you really get to know that person, by being with them in person. You get to know their quirks, you get to know their awkwardness, and that's what bonds you and helps you grow closer instead of it all being surface level. And that's exactly what social media is. Everybody is like putting on their best front. And then everybody becomes more self-conscious because they're like, oh, I don't look like that. I don't sound like that. I don't feel like that. But I'm like, you do on social media because you're putting your best front on, but you don't feel that way because that's not truly who you are. And so with the dare, we went along with giving up 3 hours of our time to disconnect from technology. How did it go, guys? Annika, how did it go with you?
Okay, so every day I was like, today's the day, today's the day, today's the day. And I had smaller moments where I unplugged, where I was conscious of it for the first half of the week. And then it started getting into the holidays. And it was easy to not be on my phone some of the time, but then I wanted to take pictures. But then I brought my camera. So I brought the camera because of this dare, even though that's still technology. But my idea for this dare was to get off my phone because I spent a lot of time specifically on my phone and I don't know how to use this cool digital camera. So I put my phone away, and then Dan actually was the one who took most of the pictures on Christmas. So I was not on my phone most of Christmas, but I still was like, I still feel like I didn't do this dare justice. And so on our way home on Sunday, I had a 3.5 hour drive, and I was like, this is perfect. So I put my phone on airplane mode and I put it in the side of the door. And a couple times I was like reaching for it. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm not on it. And then I was like, oh, I want to look up. So like, oh, no, I'm not going to be on it. And then there was some like silence between Dan and me, which I'm getting more comfortable with, but sometimes I'm like, oh, it's silent. I'm going to get on my phone. And I was like, oh wait, I can't. So I had to like keep doing that. And I wouldn't have been monitoring myself if it wasn't for this dare, which is awesome. And I finally got used to it. And then Dan was like, oh, can you look this up on your phone? I was like, nope, sorry, I can't. We have to wait till I get home. And we had really good conversations, and I was able to rest and just meditate. And all of Instagram waited for me. Like, it was still there when I got back on. I didn't miss anything. There wasn't anyone trying to call me or text me. I don't know why I always think like I have to have it on because what if someone needs to get hold of me? Like, they can wait. I'm not that special. So it was good. I feel like it was really good. I had this conscious effort of unplugging from my phone specifically. We did still use Dan's GPS just so that we can get home safely, but I did unplug from my phone and it felt good.
I love that because I can relate to that so well. I did that so many times. Like, oh, let me quickly look at this. Like, our minds are constantly going and we rely on the search engines and all these things. So I love that you consciously were like, no, I'm not going to look at that. I need a break. So I can relate to that.
Yeah, I love that because I originally thought you were going to count the time that we had at Christmas. But the same thing, right? You're taking a picture, or you're using your phone, and so I love that you're like, no, I now have the time and I'm going to use it. I'm going to use it intentionally. And the fact that you could meditate and be still and recharge while you're driving home is impressive. And I think that shows you did a fantastic job with this dare.
Thank you. And Dan was
So
driving,
good.
was not me. So I could have been on my phone the whole time. It would have been easy if I was like, well, I was driving the whole time. But Dan was driving. So just to clarify, I don't know if that was clear.
So glad you don't get on your phone while driving.
People do though. People do.
People do. Britannia, how did your experience go?
Yeah, so I thought when we did this last time, that I was going to do it that day. It's so typical of me to decide like, oh my gosh, today's the day. Today's the day that all my dreams are accomplished. Today's the day that I'm going to get it all done. And then I don't. And instead of going, well, that's okay, I have an hour that I can do it, and still recharge or read or write, I threw that time away. I did the exact opposite that we were supposed to do with this dare, and picked up my phone, watched a show. I was like, well, I don't have 3 hours, so I'm not going to do it. And I found myself doing that on Monday and Tuesday. And then I thought, who am I cheating here? I'm only cheating myself. So even if I only have 20 minutes, but you're aware that you're scrolling or using your phone needlessly, set it down. And I have a friend who follows us on Instagram, and he saw this dare. And he's like, well, what about music? I listen to music when I'm cleaning or I'm writing or creating, and I use that for my phone. And I said, that's a really good point. I think it's okay to have your music on, but you don't pick up your phone. So you set your music and you walk away, and then you can still have the 3 hours. But having said that, I didn't have that time. And I was preparing to go and see the family for Christmas, and Jason and I were getting ready to travel. And I had a dream the day we were leaving that I had 3 hours and 18 minutes to live my life. It was a very intense dream, but I had 3 hours and 18 minutes to get my life done. And so I was like, oh my gosh, this is the dare. Like, I have to get it done in 3 hours, and it's going to take me 3 hours and 18 minutes, and my life could depend on it. And I got on this whole like rabbit hole. So I was acutely aware of it, but there was so much going on. I didn't have time. So on the way home, we're flying, and I decide from the moment I get to the airport that I'm not going to use my phone. But I didn't want to count the time from, the security to the gate. And so I decided, okay, we can use our phone until we enter the plane. But the whole time I'm on the plane, I won't use my phone. I won't watch TV. I will read or I will write. And my flight is only an hour and I think it was like 25 minutes or something. It's a pretty short flight, but you're on the plane for like 2 hours. Well, fortunately, we get on the plane and our flight was delayed and we sat on the tarmac for over an hour. And so weird, fortunately, while everyone around me is complaining, I'm like, yes, I now have my 3 hours. So while I was sitting there, I read my book, Be Like Water, my friend, which I am obsessed with. It's by Bruce Lee's daughter, Shannon Lee. And while I was reading, I write in my book, I wrote down, let go of what should have happened and instead be open to what is. And the guy next to me saw me after, sitting there for an hour, seeing me reading and writing. He's like, I'm sorry, like, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I see you're reading. Are you also a writer? And so I said, yes, I am. I am an author. And told him, about my book that I'm working on. And I asked him about what he does. And he is a upcoming hip hop artist and shared his music. He's new to Spotify. His name is Rima the Prince, and he lives in Colorado. And he's brand new, like only has like 14 listeners. But we talked about being creatives and had this great conversation. And by the time we landed and I left the plane, guess how much time I had spent doing this?
3 hours and 18 minutes.
3 hours and 18 minutes.
That's so cool.
That was fantastic.
Oh my gosh.
You're dreaming about the future.
That is amazing. I love that. That is so cool. I love that you met someone new. It got things going. You read, you wrote, you got creative. That's exactly what was supposed to happen. I love that.
I do want to say that I think this is something that's important that just hit my mind right now, is that I think it's important to be intentional when you do unplug, because you were like, perfect, I'm going to read and I'm going to write. When I unplugged, I was like, okay, what am I going to do? Okay, I guess I'll meditate. I'll talk to Dan. I didn't have a plan. And I wish I did, because I could have used that 3 hours to work on my book. And I didn't think of it. I've been spending too much time being reactive and like, oh, I have all this time. What can I do right now? Instead of being proactive and coming up with a plan. So next time I'm going to schedule my unplugging time and I'm going to say, well, what am I going to do instead? And that's going to write in my book, because I haven't had a chance to do that. So thanks for prompting those thoughts for Tanya.
Oh, yeah. No, I agree with you, because I was in the exact same boat over the upcoming week. Is what do I do with my time? Or I don't have enough time, so I'm going to watch TV, and so it was trial and error. But I think you make a good point about being intentional, because it isn't just about hide your phone away. If you're thinking about your phone the whole time, you're not unplugging. And so do something, maybe it is go to the gym, maybe it's go on a walk, maybe it's play with your kids. It doesn't have to be accomplishing things, but it has to be intentional.
Yeah,
that's exactly it. It has to be intentional.
So Johanna, what about you? We're excited to hear about your experience.
So I had a similar experience to both of you guys. Like every time I tried to unplug, it was kind of hard. Like I was like, okay, like I'm doing something, I should put my phone away. And then I would actually forget and I'd pick up my phone. I'm like, dang it, I need a restart. And so I had several, like 1 or 2 hours of unplugging, but not my full 3, which is funny because wasn't it Annika that was like, it's only 3 hours? Like I thought you were going to invite us to do a whole day. And then all 3 of us are talking about how difficult it was to do 3 hours. Okay. Yeah. So, anyway, so the time that I actually got to unplug was when I was playing with my kids, specifically Olive, um, she just loves it when I sit with her and watch her play. I don't necessarily have to interact with her. And that's why I oftentimes pick up my phone. She'll be coloring or playing with her toys, and she doesn't really need me to interact. She just wants me to like be by her. And so I'll pick up my phone usually and do whatever, social media, text someone, whatever. And so I caught myself about to do that. And I decided not to, because this was my 3 hour gap. And so I put it down, and I was able to see more of Olive. I was able to see her wheels turning, her creativity. I was able to give her better reactions. I was just there. I was listening, I was paying attention. And so that gave me more motivation throughout like the whole weekend. We had like 6 days of Christmas vacation. And I saw sides of my kids that I had never seen before. I saw Olive, between her cousins, Anders and Kalo, trying to be a mediator. And she was just like this little adult for a split second, saying like, you can't steal, you can't do that. And she was so, in the moment, she was collected until she saw me watching her. And then she broke down crying. And I'm not quite sure why she cried, if it was overwhelming and, or she saw me and that she could like let go, and then I could, pick up the pieces. I don't know. But I was seeing sides of my kids I've never seen before. And it was really enjoyable. And then I started to see sides of everyone else. I started to see why people react a certain way. I started to see why I would usually react a certain way and get frustrated, but I didn't. And I was just more conscious. And I loved it. I love being more conscious, because I don't like getting on my phone. And then after I get off my phone, I'm just irritated. Like everything I'm doing, I feel like I'm not getting enough done, or you're in my way. And it's like, what are you in my way of? I'm not going anywhere. But like, I don't know, things get like, they bother me. And so I kind of want to go back to what Ellen Hendrickson was saying, that like, especially during COVID, we kind of wanted to become like a hermit, and we had to quarantine and everything. And so we kind of, as a people, we're getting used to this lifestyle. But the truth of it is like she says, we're truly avoiding the uncomfortable emotions that come with interacting with people, like awkwardness, anxiety, boredom, self-consciousness. Practices like ghosting are the result of bad manners and conflict avoidance, but all the negative emotion you forego ends up dumped on the other person. It's the worst kind of outsourcing. I thought that was so interesting. And it's just like, by avoiding things, it ends up piling up and then blowing up somewhere else.
So you're saying like
and then-
avoiding life while like drowning yourself
Mhm.
in your phone.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like for me, I easily get overwhelmed. I have 2 kids running around destroying my house, and I am constantly seeing a mess. And I am worried that someone's going to show up at my door, because random people show up at my door all the time, whether it's family or friends or strangers. I have people constantly showing up at my door. And so I'm worried like, oh no, they're going to see this mess. They're going to see me changing a poopy diaper. They're going to see a sink full of gross dishes. And so I have this constant anxiety, but I get so overwhelmed by it. And so then I just like shut down, and I'll just get on my phone, and I'll feel like I'm doing something by swiping on my phone, by going through my pictures, by, filling out something on a Google Doc, whatever. Like I feel like I'm accomplishing something, but I'm really not. I'm avoiding. And it's stupid. And so, we just need to put the phone down, buck up, and get some stuff done,
Johanna, I love that you talked about avoidance. Procrastination is something that I struggle with as well. I also get overwhelmed and worked up. And to me, it comes out of nowhere. And one of my coping mechanisms is procrastination. And I found that I can actually turn procrastination into a tool of productivity by not using my phone, but doing something else. So I had a big project that I need to work on for work, and I work from home. And instead of working on it because it stressed me out, and I was overwhelmed by all that I needed to do, I got up and did laundry. And I procrastinated, but and avoided what I needed to be working on, but I got something else done. And it became this like meditative exercise of doing laundry, folding it, putting it away. I then decided I was going to reorganize the spices. And at some point it becomes unhealthy and I do have to go back and work on my work project. But I think this is also an important point, that it's okay to be not okay. It's okay to get overwhelmed. It's okay to feel those anxious feelings. And it's okay to want to avoid something in the moment. We're not always equipped to face every moment, every feeling right then, but be aware of your tools and your coping mechanisms and choose healthy ones.
Yeah, I agree with that. I actually think you did the right thing, Britannia, because this is exactly what I talk about with like my never overthink movement. And what I talk about in my book is that people get so overwhelmed with these thoughts that are bombarding them, and like, I need to do this, I need to do that, I'm stressed, what if this happens, what if someone sees me, and it's overwhelmed. We've all experienced this, and that's called overthinking. And Britannia, the reason why I think you did the right thing was because what I believe works is you're aware that you're stressed, you're aware that you're probably overthinking, but then you did something about it. You moved your body, and that switches your brain, and then you're less stressed and you're overthinking less because you're getting out of that stuck frame set mindset.
Frame set, sure.
You're getting unstuck by doing the laundry, and then once you get moving, then it's easier to keep moving, and you were probably more productive. Even though you say it was procrastination, it was actually something to get you unstuck, to get you back in the movement, and to get you your project done.
That's so true. I love everything that you guys are saying. It's true. You need to move. You need to get your mind going. And like, just because you're scared of something doesn't mean you need to dive after it and face your fears. It's important to think about it and maybe think about why you're scared. And it's because sometimes you're not sure what's going to happen. And so you have to come up with a plan and and kind of like talk yourself through it. So I love that you guys talked about that.
I just want to note that I love that this dare, Johanna, you took the opportunity to spend more time with your kids. And I remember on Christmas, one of the times that you experienced Olive in a new light, and you ran into the kitchen to tell us, and how lit up and how excited you were because you saw this new side. And so I love that that's how you chose to use your time.
Thank you.
Yeah,
It
you
means
were like
a lot to me.
you're like the epitome of being present. I think you're more present than you think you are, and you keep showing me that you know how to be present.
I don't feel present. And I think this was exactly why I felt like I wasn't being present. It was because I am sitting next to them, but I'm on my phone, or I'm
Yeah.
thinking of the next thing I'm going to do on my phone. And it's like, I want my mind to be with them. I don't just want my body to be there. So,
I love that. Yeah, I think
well,
oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I guess there's like a little delay, so sorry. I did want to say two things before I tell you the next truth and dare real quick. That this dare was important because I realized that all three of us have very high standards for ourselves, that we think we're not as present as we are, which we probably are better than we think we are, which is something that Dad has always told us. But the second thing is, I think we're truly addicted to our phones, and not just us three. I think society, I think it's an addiction, because when you were explaining how you were like, oh, I'm going to give it up for 3 hours, but then you forgot, or we kept like grabbing it. That's something that happens when you're trying to overcome addiction. And it's okay. It's okay to say, I'm going to quit, but then relapse. but then say, I'm going to quit and then relapse. It's okay. That's usually what happens when you're overcoming addiction, whether it's a hardcore addiction with drugs, pornography, sex, alcohol, or something like our phones, which I think can be just as harmful. It really can. It's something that pulls you away from your family, and it pulls you away from yourself. It pulls you away from accomplishing the things that you want to be or do, and from being the higher self that you want to be. So it's okay for our listeners that if they're like, oh, I want to unplug, but I can't, I'm just like, I need my phone. I'm having, withdrawals or something. It's okay to have those ebbs and flows, that we just recommit every time. You recommit, you relapse, you recommit, and that's just the cycle of overcoming addiction. And I just want to say that that's totally normal. And all of us who maybe we didn't think we were addicted, I think we are, because all of us were like, oh, but I need to use my phone, or I don't have time. I think it's because we're so dependent and so addicted, and we can overcome it by these small steps. And I hope we do this dare again. I hope we lengthen the time next time.
Yeah, definitely. I do feel a little unsatisfied with my dedication. So I'm definitely going to try again this coming week, just for myself, to do it a little better, a little more intentional.
Yeah, I noticed that for me, I get hung up with, and it's a theme in my life. If I don't have enough time, if I don't have 2 hours, I can't go to the gym. And not most people don't work out for 2 hours. So it's crazy that I put that limit on myself. And I'll do that with my dreams, my passions. I don't have time to work on my book. I don't have 7 hours. I don't have all day. And it's like, you have 20 minutes. Work on your book. It's important to you. Why do I have to keep reminding myself it's important to me? And this challenge, I think it should be an ongoing theme as we continue to self-develop and share our experiences. You know, perfect example is I love to watch Shark Tank and eat dinner. That is one of my favorite things, because normally Jason's at the gym and it's my time. And I work really hard. I de-stress, I put on the TV. But Shark Tank has back-to-back episodes. So 1 hour can become 4 really fast. And yesterday there was a new episode on, and I wanted to find out, because I feel like I'm learning about business. I feel like I'm doing homework or I'm being productive, but I'm watching a TV show. And I asked, Jason was actually home, and I said, oh, I need to work on my book, but I'm going to wait. I just want to find out if she gets a deal or not. And he's like, okay, sit down. And I was standing behind the couch, and I was like, what? No, I don't care if she got a deal. I'm going to go work on me. I promised myself I'm going to write, so I'm going to go write. And Jason was like, okay, go write. Like, he doesn't care.
It's like, do what you want.
Do what you want. But I'm over here waiting for someone to tell me, like, go do your book. And no one's going to tell you to unplug and be present with your children. No one's going to tell you to drop your phone and have a conversation with your husband. No one's going to tell you to work on your passions. And we have to create this space so that we can do the things we want to do, not what anyone else is telling us to do.
Yeah, exactly. Which brings me, that's like a great segue, because that brings me right into what I want to do this week, which is a shorter week because we got a late start on our podcast. So hopefully we can do it. But the truth is, what was one of your goals that you had last year, and did you accomplish it? Or did you have a goal?
I did. I had a whole vision board, and I'm going to go look at it right now. So my vision board was huge, and I'm going to turn on the light and show you guys. How do I flip the screen? Oh, duh, my background's blurred.
Hang on, I think I actually have my goals right here. 1 second.
Okay, so here's my vision board. Can you guys see it?
Kind of. I see that it's a collage. This was
It's
all
huge,
for 1 year,
okay?
or that's like your life?
This was all for 1 year. It's right above my calendar. And then you look at Caden's and it's a little less than mine, but that's okay. So that's what we look like. And so I think I only accomplished half, which I think is pretty good. Um, but I put on there like eat less dairy, eat more fruits and veggies, watch less TV, be more aware of my spendings. Those are the things I didn't do so good at, and like meal prepping, but I did really good at reading. I did really good at being grateful. I did a lot better at trying to be present with my kids. I can always do better, but I'm getting more creative with like activities with my kids. So I thought that was pretty good, but I'm definitely going to carry over some of those goals for the new year.
Awesome. What about you, Britannia?
Yeah, I love this. First of all, I've never done a vision board and I realize I'm seriously depriving myself. I love that you have yours right there. And I love this truth because as of just last year, maybe it was 2019, I decided I'm going to actually write down my goals, not just think about it or like maybe journal a little. I'm going to officially write them down and officially track them. So I did write down my goals. And as soon as you said that, I opened up my book to my 2021 goals. So no bookmark needed, just serendipitous. It popped right open. And I have completed most of these. And that is huge.
That is huge.
One
What
of the
were some of them?
Okay, so become a green belt in Krav Maga.
Woo.
And train to be a yoga instructor. Done. This one I did not do. Write and create every day. And that was one that I really wanted to do. And I've done more writing and creating this year than I have any other year of my life, but it wasn't every day. And the last one I wanted to share, obviously I have several, is start recording a podcast.
Oh,
Yay.
we did it.
So awesome. So for me, mine was to finish my book by December 31st, which I have 2 more days. I could maybe write
You can do
75
it.
pages. I'm like halfway done. But if I didn't have this book, if I didn't have this goal to finish the book by the end of the year, I wouldn't have pushed so hard. So it's this why it's so good to have goals. My other goal was to have 3 streams of income and then also have an additional $25,000, which I made this goal in like August or something. And I had entered all these contests, like my poetry contest, which I didn't win the $25,000, but I did win a laptop and I was recognized for my poetry, which was really cool. So having these goals and looking at them every day really got my brain working and did motivate me. And I kept myself accountable, like, well, I have to write my book because I have to finish. I have to finish by the end of the year. And no, I didn't. And it's okay. But I'm still working on it and I'm going to create that goal again. And the other thing, the 3 streams of income, I didn't get 3. I mean, we kind of did if you count like the little things that we sold, but I'm not counting that. But the cool thing is about these 3 streams of income, I started looking at different avenues to make money. And I started creating products and I put products online. And I wanted to, I have this idea of making money while we sleep and it being one passive income. And I didn't sell anything, but I was having lots of fun with creating these products and I was putting out there and I was really enjoying myself. And then I bought something for myself. But then just like 2 weeks ago, I got an email that somebody bought something, a complete stranger, nobody I know. I had done no advertisements or anything. They just saw my products on the website and somebody bought leggings that I designed. And I was like, whoa, I got another stream of income. And yes, it was only $18, but still, somebody bought something and it gets the ball rolling. And now I'm like, okay, I can do this. I can keep marketing this and I can make this even better. And maybe I'll get, $18 every day, and $18 every day will add up. So that was my goals. So of course, you could probably guess that this week's challenge is to make a vision board. Now, it can be as extravagant as Johanna's, and all those things, but I think I want you to focus on your big three. I want you to have 3 things that you want to accomplish and that you will accomplish. And I want you to put this up somewhere. It doesn't have to be a beautiful collage. It can just be a list, a big colorful piece of paper if you want. And I want it to be somewhere that you find yourself looking at every day. So for me, I had put mine up in the bedroom, right on the wall opposite of where I usually sit on my bed. Like, you know how you have these spots in your house that you just sit and sometimes you're like looking? Put it in that spot and put it multiple spots. Put it on your mirror, put it on your phone. And I want you to look at it every day so that you can accomplish your big 3. Can you do it?
Yes, I love that.
Yeah, I'm way
Dare
excited.
you.
When, do you accept the challenge? Especially with New Year's.
Yeah.
And this is a perfect theme to bring in 2022. And we're clearly goal oriented. We're trying to accomplish a lot of things, but I love that you said just pick 3. I have pages and pages of goals, and several of them are actually broken down into 5 different categories of what I'm going to do. And this is nice to simplify. Just choose 3 to create a visual, because visualization is crucial in achieving the things you desire.
Yeah, exactly. And Greg McEwen wrote this book called Essentialism, and he talks about how if we have too many things we're focusing on, we don't actually accomplish anything. He said you can have, the big vision board. You can have a list of 50 things that you need to do, but prioritize them and focus on your top 3. And once you accomplish those top 3, then you go down to the next 3 that are important. And so focus on your 3, but if you finish your goals in a month, create 3 new goals or look at something else on your vision board.
Perfect. That's a good idea, having the 3 to focus on, and if you accomplish them, go to the next 3. I love that.
Yeah, I'm so excited about this. And I think the focus is a really good point. I think we all are trying to do a lot. And if we don't choose and prioritize, we're not going to get anything done. So love this. I'm so excited for this dare. Thank you, Annika, for throwing it out to us.
You're welcome. And thanks everybody for listening. I want to see everybody's vision boards. So let's post them and I want to see them. I mean, obviously we have a week to do it, but I want to see what everybody posts. I think we can, invite people to share their pictures on Instagram too, because I think it'd be so cool to see what everybody's goals are. It's so fun.
Yeah, I love that. Create this community and it'll help build the positive energy and create a safe place to talk about them. So I love it. Let's do it.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you so much, everybody. Thanks for listening to the Dare to Tribe, and we dare you to try.
We dare you.
Bye.